제 제모들도 님이 좀 오늘 물론 점보는 게다 바그로 다른 산도 젊을도 tum바도 제 장라기 점저는 저로 저는 정금서 저 대기션나 열라 지메 번조장라 조란도 공개 또반 버르 신지로 공개 또반 버르 신지로 공개 또반 버르 신지로
The supreme, profound, and sublime Dharma is difficult to encounter in a being yawns. Now I see it, hear it, receive it, and capture it. I vow to attain the true meaning of the Tathagata. In order to liberate all sentient beings, let us generate the supreme bodhicitta.
렘저 챵버 잔당 다노 대양 하감 흘 버금 버모 하감 제네 존테 득득 논빈로아 츠크 셈천남 켜김 산토바다 켜지 끄즈금 자라다 켜라 가장 답바다 켜라 또정 바라 소바 간즈 데드 딱드 토리지 네스 스티에데 데와 퍼섬 속바라 롱수 쇼정 타트 제버먼네 산지지 롱탄 토르테 라나메 필람레 시르문도바 토브른 저로 샤네즈기 켜지 교드는 시험바당 현재 진보도 담바당 로압시당 캬버드 라글러 데비르남다 특신도 세정 달라양 상주성과 사이년부 삼기미 집이 용도는 조프르 그를 시나 로압시당 캬버드 라글러 세정 달라양 상주성과 사이년부 삼기미 집이 용도는 조프르 그를 시나 시나 교치 러브르뇽나 일라 zon식당의 졸업담버 샤오데니 잔주성과 샤리즈기 소라 럭소 좀던데 더 삼버는 도또 데니 좀던데 지선주성과 샤리즈라 카르사바 마온다 다르트 직된 남설 하 남기 하 남기 리입 소는 zadnen 칠테링 앞숑와감 간송고네서 동르티르나 데티 해 와감 워모 간직 랑라 칠테 숑르 시네 샹츠성과 사이뇽부 끄즈금 통네 란ық직도 따와금 양납 샹츠성과 사이뇽부 찬투네 델랍숑 랑ық직든 사르시나 리입소는 페르데브데와 침보라 롱스 쇼정 안송고네 석단드 머통을 게르나 응우습 샹츠성과 사이뇽부 끄즈금 통화다 팀찬투네 델라 득부다 메톡당 꾸당 잡동당 럼보체당 짜가 짭실라소지 짐바금 주바시나 데레토비 파요나 장메바담 타메바르무 마고소 샤네즈 마온직된 마온당 따틴직된 남스 로아트리크 셈천남 끈거 셈포나 샹수성화 사이 형범 산 랑직 두바니 셈천 때덕 안송 심지 등을 단담용으로 만지로 강석 강지그 셈포네 디 파마님즈 남지 은인니 남지 강석 디 겸강당 강겸당 노르제당 럼보체당 젠나 속바 종네 샹수성화 사이 형부 자르거당 지스크 장바 감 양나 강석데 마시공데 츠르데덕 팀 통투스 셰드 직네 ರಂ거 쳇 강팀 노르제 속 종네 샹수성화 사이 형부 자르거당 지스크 장버 시버 게르나 시르 강석디 레지스톱기 나드 신도 주오지 탭경 디 데스터 소눔 서베 니르드 날레 타라장 체양 랑버른 겨로 가트 강석디 체자파지 연나 시르 득접당 레접 체베 안송고네서 통어른 겨와 연나 양 겨와 연양 디 데스터 소눔 서베 티 첸드 푸마 타드 하다 미고몽 톱네 되어 파슴 속발라 롱쇼장 득바 득드르베테다 탐치 딱버른 겨로 샤네즈 마운지테 남스 버동보모 강지그 고마 너비 고마 너비 디당 위방 고마 너비 위바버금 보모 강지그 고마 너비 디당 록숨 롬비 디당 로르가 롬비 디당 롭치 롬비 디만쳤더 랑가 파마다 판나망창라 속바 셴네 남 남직나 남직 나손데 나르손데 남직 나르손데 치르케바나 랑가 파마다 님즈데다 짠네 데르남 강더 케바당 지튼 강더 케바당 하이르 강더 케바 속 마시 버게르나 Ganzak di shan chusan wa sayi nyambun rarka dang prishka so jarwa gam yana di santuni nyanaf chigni nyanaf dangi warda togmi sem manim be tela kipe tang chig tawa dang chig lang chig sarwa tsanchu shaw dertirim tsan tuba dang rkigzim jane tela tawa dang chig jiba dang chopa mbarwe ganyin te dak shir ligir top kifkara tamar ngansung gone sirtungwa yin yang vagam mote dak pun mangchang namji chet shanchu sanghwa sai shanchu sanghwin jarka dang prishka la tawa dang chig gyub sunum ji te dak tamchim nirda tarwan gyaro dinal ha dang mi nang der tiena gang dewa pusum sokpa da long shubrin gyaro nyenye te dak rangni la yang sunum ji stum damba yinna 대덕을 하던 미능도 스티네 대와 무슨 속발라 롱쇼장 디 소놈지 스톱긴 팍비 겨 름기 헤르데 대와 코드메 발라 롱쇼브른 겨로 강석 디적 던척 섬기 난데 샹주성와 사이 냥부 자르크 냥부 거즈글라 찌익직도 타와금 지금 살와금 디 산nep존에 척지 강와나 샹주성와 사이 냥부 금 타메 바나네 니니 대덕 강다 기비어 내장 조브른 겨로 양날 문음지 디스 샹주성 점치지 또비 강석 디 니니 요비 직된데 응우스 츠브른 겨로 같은 년 대비전 더 샹주성과 사이 냥부 참 스통직도 년레비전도 스통직 스통직 같은 년레비전도 샹주성과 사이 냥부 참 스통직 돈네 작 스통직 랩돈 스통직 랩돈니 작 동chức 작 동chức 송화나 샹주성과 사이 냥부 강석대 네비 열 하니 더글라 존니 데니 쳔직도 종은 겨로 데니 쳔더양 제쿠 푸숨 속바던 나티 드응을 멈중 왜나 멈중 안에 존테 티마인 빈직때 남 강석대 르고양 마토나 무스티 토든 바바나 무마고소 남식 샹주성과 사이 냥부 쇼르비적때 롱튼 바토브른 겨로 샤네즈 마운직때 남스리 기오므리기오 모 강지그 샹주 샹비 심디아 침부 기네 샘전 담지 조런도 바다 나나 미피 샹칩도 도브른도 바 주브른도 바다 강 심디어네네 타로 타로는도 바데 덕그 샹추 성화 사이 냥부 그즈임 자르와당 팀 찬토네 찌익직도 스티압슨 조와당 부당 메독당 구당 rum보체당 제쿠 소김 초판 버정 텔랍타와당 샹차르시나 리기오므리기오모 건건도 바탐치 토바메 버 니르던 저바 연노 시안에즈 마운직네 남스 리기오므리기오모 강지가 따르따르당 마운 제바 갸르통 시아 척추 남 저버는 도파당 시아 갸르통 시아 척추 남 저버는 도페장 샹추상와 사이 냥부 그즈글라 스티압슨 조와당 기페타와당 첨사라당 초반바라당 또장 흥업버시나 강석디 찌르 몸비레와 탐치 용스 저바요노 샹추상와 사이 냥부는 쯔와 침보당 녀지 침보당 담베 강석데니 스탁도 중장 교바요노 강석 딜 문음데 양 샹추상와 사이 냠부 쇼르 적데 롱탄바 토바이 토브란 기로
Now let us continue with our class on the Ksitigarbha Sutra. Today we're going to begin on the 12th chapter, Benefits from Admiring Ksitigarbha's statue and hearing Ksitigarbha's name. In fact, this is the chapter that I really enjoy, because upon hearing the name of Ksitigarbha and seeing the image of Ksitigarbha brings great benefits to our present life and future lives. So after studying this chapter, I believe we're going to generate great faith and devotion towards Ksitigarbha, which would lead to our better diligence in our practice in the future. First of all, I would like to share a story with you that's related to Ksitigarbha. Back in Tang Dynasty, there was once a practitioner whose name is Jian, and he was very devoted. Once he went to a monastery and asked the monastics and said that I want to build a noble statue for the benefit of this life and future lifetimes. Could you please tell me which of the images I should use, or whose image I should use to build that noble statue? And then many different monastics give him different opinions. Some said Avalokiteshvara would be wonderful because he is the one who bestows fearless teaching to the sentient beings in Saha world. And some said that Medicine Buddha would be most supreme, because during the semblance time of the Dharma, the Medicine Buddha would be of the most meaningful to the sentient beings. And some said Maitreya Bodhisattva's image would be the best, because he is the heir of Shakyamuni Buddha. Therefore, Maitreya Bodhisattva's image would be the best. And some said Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's image would be the best because he has received because he was told by the Buddha himself and entrusted by the Buddha himself to liberate sentient beings in the future. And because different people said different things, so this person had lots of difficulties from choosing. But at the end, he chose Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva and then made a 3-inch high noble statue of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva with kandana. And then he kept that image in his hair bun. Whenever he's walking, sitting, lying down, or doing things, he would chant the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. Unfortunately, I don't have a hair bun. But in the previous times in Tibet, there are people who who have long hair, and then they would put some Buddha statue in their hair bun. For example, Sun Tang Temple, the king has a real Ushnisha, and over there, inside that Ushnisha, he has an image of Amitabha. Just like this person in this story, where he made Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva as a protector, a personal protector. Just like many people nowadays would put different statues in their little locket and wear them on the neck. And many people would wear lots of images of their gurus. And since they have lots of gurus, they would put different pendants on one necklace, which looks a bit too much. Of course, have faith, have a place of reliance. It's really wonderful. There are people who are quite superstitious because they hold on to images or forms. In fact, not only Buddhists, different religions, different schools, they would design logos or design images based on their culture, or they would have their idols and signs. If we don't know them, we would feel very odd about their behavior. But upon knowing that, in fact, we would develop a sense of understanding because we ourselves also have such belief. Anyhow, as we said that this person then hid that Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's statue in his hair bun, and in his later life he received the uncommon blessings from Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. For example, once during During a fighting in the war, he was crowded by all the enemies. So at that time, he supplicated to Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. And then at that time, all the enemies run off. So he was able to be alleviated from fear. And there was another time a foe of his was going to harm him and kept on waiting for him at a place where he definitely would pass. And when the foe saw, but the foe only saw a Shramana pass by, he didn't see this person. It was only told later. The foe got to know that in fact the Shramana was the person he wanted to harm. And because this person was protected by Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, so the foe did not dare to harm him ever again. And there was another time when this practitioner passed by a motel, and in that evening there was a great rain, and all the lights were destroyed, and at that time there was light shining forth from the statue in his hair. And then a sound of a child kept on rushing him to run away. So he did. And it was only till the second morning he found that the whole motel was flooded by water. Many incidents like that happened in his life. When he was 87 years old, the light shone forth from Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, and he supplicated to the Bodhisattva until his death. And then there was this one beam of light shining all the way from the celestial realm, which signified that he passed into, he took rebirth in the virtuous realm afterwards. We can see a small statue of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva is just like a protection. You can keep it as a protection, which protects him not only for this lifetime but also future lifetimes. I think our audience over here, over 90% of you, have pure faith. And for those of you who have pure faith, then you should receive and accept the images of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the Shastras, teachings of Mahayana, as well as the mantras of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. If you can receive it in this way, with belief, with devotion, then that's really wonderful. But if you were to generate lots of doubts and lots of suspicion, you should work with that doubt. For example, you can debate and talk about all your doubts, and you can study more extensively until eventually you eradicate all the doubts in your mind stream. We should definitely reach to this kind of understanding so that your faith would be pure in your mind stream. I believe our audience over here, majority of you have true faith. In fact, this kind of faith is so important. The animals and other kinds of sentient beings, they cannot generate such kind of genuine faith. But compared to the other sentient beings, human beings are of the most supreme wisdom. in wisdom. However, if you don't understand the connection between man and nature and between man and man, and if you don't understand what you are and who you are, if you don't understand the connection between your body and your consciousness, then you would only become the slave of money. And if you were to live your life in that way, then maybe you live for a few decades, but it doesn't bring any benefits or it doesn't create any meaning for you. Therefore, as a person with wisdom, we should look for our value system. This is really important. Many people kept on searching for their goal in life, but now when we look at it, lots of people's goals are wrong because many of them strive for wealth, some strive for loving relationships and marriage, and some strive for status. But after you attend all of those, could they solve the problem of your inner suffering? The answer is definitely negative. Now look at it. Once you receive money, once you receive fame, once you receive status, can you attain happiness? It's very difficult. It would be very difficult. According to Buddhism, the most important is to recognize or to know your own mind, to see the nature of your afflictions, to see your mind is the non-duality of emptiness and luminosity. And once you can recognize your mind, then whatever gains and losses and whatever birth and death and whatever you have or not to have, everything in fact would just be like an illusion, like a dream. And once you recognize that nothing is attainable in the ultimate truth, and the ultimate truth is devoid of all the elaborations and all the extremes, then you can become the most wealthy, most happy, and most successful person in this world. Throughout the process of our studies, I think there are people who kept on searching for their goals, including Buddhists. Some of the Buddhists, I think, they are still staying on the superficial level. They can't really delve into the depth of the Dharma. Some of the people only search for the highest teachings, but they don't even have solid, or they don't even have a very stable faith towards the Guru. They don't even have the deep compassion towards beings in the six realms. Then your foundation is not sturdy. You're simply building structures on ice, and they could collapse at any time. This chapter, in fact, is going to be very simple. The chapter is very easy to understand. Even for me, Chinese is my second language. I can understand it and explain it. And for you, who have great wisdom, I don't think you will encounter any problems, right? However, simply because it's simple, we should not ignore it at all, because we should try to see what could inspire us and what kind of insights that we can generate from this chapter. Now let's look at the 12th chapter. It says that at that time the world honored one radiated trillions rays of light, all as pure and exquisite as the Buddha's white curl mark light. Sometimes the light would shine forth from the Ushnisha, the crown protrusion. But sometimes it would radiate from the knees and foot and from the sacred center and all of those. And it could bring different benefits towards different beings, such as the animals or asuras or devas and humans. Anyhow, over here it says that the light shone forth from the crown protrusion. which is symbolizing supreme wisdom. Among these were the light of the white ray, great white ray, auspicious ray, great auspicious ray, jade ray, great jade ray, purple ray, great purple ray, indigo ray, great indigo ray, blue ray, great blue ray, red ray, great red ray, green ray, great green ray, golden ray, great golden ray. Each of them, some of them are rays and some of them are great rays. And then celebratory cloud 5 colors ray, great celebratory cloud ray, 1,000 chakra rays, great 1,000 chakras ray, jewel chakra ray, great jewel chakra ray, solar disk ray, great solar disk ray, lunar disk ray, great lunar disk ray, palace ray, great palace ray, sea cloud, all-encompassing ray, and great sea cloud ray, and so on and so forth. So from the Ushnisha, the different types of light radiated forth. And at the same time, after radiating all these light rays, the Buddha proclaimed in wondrous voice to all those assembled, the 8 classes of supernatural beings, men and ghosts. Over here, the lights, according to the Mahaprajna Paramita Shastra, it says that when the Buddha radiating light, he would first radiate the pure light so that people's mind would be purified, and then he would radiate the wisdom light, that is to proclaim the correct Dharma, and then the wondrous light which would dispel all the defilement of sentient beings. Maybe we think about the light of the Buddha as the light as a light in our world, but the light from the Buddha could give blessings to people, to the sentient being's mind, and dispel the darkness in their mind, to also generate wisdom in their mind. Therefore, the Buddha's light is very different than the mundane world's light. The Devas and Shravakas, as well as Pratika Buddhas, also have some light, but that light is still very different than the Buddha's light. When the Buddha liberates sentient beings or turning the wheel of Dharma, lots of light would shine forth. And some of the followers of the Buddha, some of the practitioners, when they turn the wheel of light, different kinds of turn the wheel of Dharma, light would also shine forth. There are rainbows and different kinds of light like such. Some great masters, enlightened ones, practitioners, when they enter into parinirvana, various kinds of colors of rainbows would show in the sky, and they would manifest different kinds of miraculous actions in various areas, various places, and turn the supreme Dharma wheel. There are things like such. There are the kinds of manifestations like that. So we should not say that none of those exists. In fact, light could bring lots of faith to people. Just as it is stated in the Sutra of Wise and Fool, it says that mundane beings are really attracted to miraculous actions. So whenever people see light, people get really happy. When there's some light or some glow, and people would say that, are you radiating light? In fact, no, I'm not radiating. This is just reflection. Just like after you finish washing face, or if people are very good at protecting their skin, then it seems that they have this glow. But that kind of glow is not the light that's talked over here. There are people who takes lots of time to take care of their skin, then that kind of glow is not the glow that or the light that we're talking about over here. But the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, as well as great masters, they would manifest various kinds of auspicious signs when they are liberating sentient beings, and this kind of auspicious signs cannot be denied. So the Buddha then radiated light and started to speak with his wondrous voice and told the devas and said, today in Trish Palace, hear my praise of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, in fact, benefit sentient beings in the 5 ways. I'm going to expound on the benefits, all the beneficial things conducted by Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. There are 5, and the first one is for benefiting benefiting sentient beings in the human and heavenly realm through expedient means. And second one says, for all of his inconceivableness, divine power, wisdom, etc. In fact, and then the third one says, for guiding sentient beings to become enlightened, which surpass the Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas, for guiding sentient beings to attain the 10 levels of bodhisattvahood. For those who follow the Mahasattva's teaching shall never regress from the Anuttara Samyog Sambuddhi. These are the 5 things, or 5 benefits expounded by the Buddha that's conducted by Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. And this chapter talks about these 5 benefits. The Buddha first shone forth light, different kinds of light, and then started to speak with his wondrous voice to talk about the inconceivable merit of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. And at that time, upon hearing this, at the conclusion of these words, a Bodhisattva Mahasattva in the assembly named Avalokiteshvara rose from his seat, knelt down on one knee with his palms joined, and addressed the Buddha, saying, World-honored one, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva Mahasattva has great compassion and pity for the sinful, suffering sentient beings. In the trillions of worlds, he has manifested trillions of emanations to deliver them. In fact, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva would manifest in various manifestations in different places. The divine power demonstrated and merit gained by Mahasattva from delivering all sentient beings are inconceivable. So indeed, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's merit is inconceivable, as well as his power. In fact, over here, power, sometimes divine power is translated in this way, but in some of the translations, it means blessings. Lots of the Mahayana texts, such as the Great Compendium Sutra, translated in such a way. Over here, it says divine power. So divine power in blessings, it's similar. And then Avalokiteshvara continued to say that I have long heard the world-honored one and the countless Buddhas of the 10 directions together all praising Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. Over here, the countless bodhisattvas, and saying even all of the Buddhas of the 3 times cannot express all of his merit. And over here it says that even all the Bodhisattva, even all the Buddhas of the 3 times cannot express all of his merit. It seems that all of you likes to praise him. So even if all the Buddhas of the 3 times cannot express all of his merits, just now the world honored one has announced again to all present that you desire to praise and proclaim the benefits provided by Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, all the 5 types of benefits that was listed above or stated above by the Buddha. And he said that I, in fact, really want to listen to your teaching on that for the sake of all the present and future sentient beings. I wish the world honored one would praise and proclaim Ksitigarbha's inconceivableness, leading the 8 classes of supernatural beings to pay homage and receive blessings. From this part, we can see the Buddha, he wants to praise the Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, but he definitely needs an auspicious condition and auspicious dependent arising. And over here, Avalokiteshvara stood up and supplicated to the Buddha to talk more and to praise Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. In different sutras, the Buddha also praised Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's merit. And over here, Avalokiteshvara became a type of auspicious connection, auspicious condition. So over here, he says that if you like to give the teaching, I in fact really want to listen to it. I would ask you to expound on that, since the Buddha is turning the Dharma wheel, so he agreed to it. Therefore, over here, the supplication is a contributing factor. Then the Buddha said to Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, saying that you have great affinity with the sentient beings. So first the Buddha then praised Avalokiteshvara. Otherwise, others might feel that the Buddha only likes to praise Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. So over here, the Buddha praised to Avalokiteshvara first and said that you have great affinity with the sentient beings in the Saha world. So not only Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva have great affinity with the sentient beings in the Saha world. In fact, you, Avalokiteshvara, also have great affinity with the sentient beings in Saha world. Sometimes I think to myself, indeed, we are born in this dark age with the 5 defilements, and we're quite poor. But if we have faith, if we can practice, we have already encountered all the great Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, such as Shakyamuni Buddha, the Manjushri Bodhisattva, Avalokiteshvara. They all made the vows to liberate us. And on top of that, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva made the great vow to liberate the sentient beings. It is just like when a naughty student had encountered a really great teacher, because the teacher pays great kindness and is very skillful in such a way that naughty student will eventually become a really great person as well. So we have already made such great affinities with all these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and that's quite important. If we were to be born in a dark age and cannot hear the names of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and don't don't have any causes and conditions that leads us to supplicate to them, then that is quite pitiful. Therefore, we should cherish our conditions. We should cherish our time. We should not squander our life. Just as it is said in the letter to a friend by Nagarjuna, where it says that a utensil that is made of gold, but we use such kind of golden utensil to put the filth inside, and that is quite a pity. Similarly, since we've already got this human body that is difficult to attain, and we are already growing in the environment of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and if we do not practice diligently, that is very sad, and that is very ignorant of us. Anyhow, over here it says that Avalokiteshvara also has great affinity with the sentient beings inside our world. So the Buddha continued to say that if the 8 classes of supernatural beings, men, women, ghosts, including the suffering beings in the 6 realms, hear your name, see your images, admire you, and praise you, they will not regress from the path to enlightenment, and shall often be born in the human or heavenly realms to receive blessings. In fact, the names of Avalokiteshvara, as told by the Buddha, as praised by the Buddha, this is the merit of chanting the name of Avalokiteshvara or chanting the mantras. Chanting the 6 syllabus mantra is very important, especially in Tibet. We often say that this is really the wish-fulfilling jewel in human realm, so we should not abandon this at all. In Tibet, the seniors would dedicate their life to chant the Avalokiteshvara's mantra for tens of thousands of times, and sometimes even millions of times. But nowadays, the young people, they have a very different value system, but we should not consider that chanting the mantras are superstition. In fact, chanting the mantras and names have lots of meanings. I think sometimes later I really want to give teachings on the Mahayana Jeweled King Sutra, where it talks about the merit of Avalokiteshvara as well as the 6 syllabus mantra. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can manifest into all various kinds of images and forms. Maybe we see the forms of Avalokiteshvara according to the Tibetan tradition or the Chinese tradition, but as long as we have faith, the merit that could bring us, and the compassion and the siddhi, the fruition that brings us is very certain. According to the Lotus Sutra, it says that if one were to hear the name of Avalokiteshvara or see the image of Avalokiteshvara, the mind kept on contemplating or visualizing the form of Avalokiteshvara, then all of these merit will not be in vain. It can pacify all sufferings. So to supplicate with great devotion is quite necessary. In fact, in mainland China, lots of people would chant the name of the great compassionate, suffering, alleviating all sufferings, the names of Avalokiteshvara. As I said earlier, the Mahayana Jewel King Sutra, it also mentioned that if we were to chant the name of Avalokiteshvara or mantra, we will definitely be able to be reborn in the Pure Land. And if we can chant that to others, it could be very beneficial. Let's chant the name. Shang Zhu Senhua Senhua Jimbo Papa Shang Reze Wang Xu La Shang Calum Chudur Jiao Sum Chiu Shang Zhu Senhua Senhua Jimbo Papa Shang Reze Wang Xu La Shang Calum Chudur Jiao Sum Chiu
上周三花千本拍把相热色往修拉上茶龙秋多调zum节。上周三花千本拍把相热色往修拉上茶龙秋多调zum节。上周三花千本拍把相热色往修拉上茶龙秋多调zum节。上周三花千本拍把相热色往修拉上茶龙秋多调zum节。上周三花千本拍把相热色往修拉上茶龙秋多调zum节。上周三花千本拍把相热色往修拉上茶龙秋多调zum节。我马那巴梅我马那巴梅我马那巴梅我马那巴梅。Umarna Bame, Umarna 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 Bame, 好，这样那个
Now in this way, whomsoever made connections with Avalokiteshvara will be reborn in the celestial realm and be able to enjoy the supreme happiness. And slowly, with the maturation of such merit, they will be able to receive the prediction of attaining enlightenment. And over here, the Buddha continued to say that when there, then the Buddha continued to say that you have great compassion and pity for the sentient beings and the 8 classes of supernatural beings. Listen closely to my pronouncement of the great benefits which can begin from worshipping Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. So over here, the Buddha said that listen closely, listen attentively. I'm going to expound on the great benefits that you can gain from making connection to Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. So first of all, the Buddha tried to pacify Avalokiteshvara by saying that, well, you also have lots of merit. And then the Buddha continued to tell Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, saying that So Avalokiteshvara first replied, saying that I'm glad to receive your teaching. World honored one, I really want to listen to you expound on the merit of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. So the Buddha then told Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, saying that when the Devas exhibit the 5 signs of decay, when their merits are about to exhaust, they have nearly exhausted their heavenly blessings. According to different sutras, there are different teachings on the signs of decay of the celestial beings. For example, according to words of my perfect teacher as well as other teachings, though sometimes they're different, but mainly they're similar. First of all, the first sign is that when they're about to die, when they're close to decaying, then the flower crown will slowly wither. Second sign is that usually the celestial beings' clothing do not get tinted, but when they're decaying, then their clothing start to get filthy. Third sign is that before the merit exhausts, the celestial beings do not sweat, but then when they're decaying, then the third sign is that they will start to sweat. The fourth one is that usually the celestial beings do not blink their eyes, but then they will keep on blinking their eyes when they are closing to death. The fifth one is that they do not want to stay where they are. They don't want to abide in their residence, just like some of our fellow Sangha members, and they don't want to stay at a certain place. They would stay at one place and then the other, and then it kept on changing. Maybe that's a sign of their decaying as well. Sometimes I notice that there are Sangha members who volunteer for different posts, and then they would keep on changing departments, changing their posts, and changing their classes. There are people who are the opposite, who are very steadfast, very steady. In Tibet, we say that if a person is steady, then wherever you place that person will be like a nail, and would be like a nail that is hammered into a piece of wood, and that person would stay there. So for people who are steady, they will stay there, and for people who's very who fluctuates quite a bit, they're just like the leaves blown by wind. They would blow here and then there, and kept on changing positions. Or and then after the 5 signs appear, the celestial being knows that they would not abide in the celestial realm for a long period of time, and the other celestial beings would give up on that celestial, on the one who's about to die, and they would stand far away and start to scatter flowers and send him wishes, saying that I wish you the best. In fact, people most of the time are like that too. They're very opportunist, very much of opportunists. They would gather around of the ones who have lots of fame and wealth, but whenever their fame and wealth decays, especially when that person gets older, even the children would walk away and would not like to get close to them. So at that time, the celestial being would know that where they're going to be reborn with their miraculous power of knowing their next lives. So at that time, they would know where they will be reborn. And once they saw that, sometimes they would generate a wrong view towards meditation, towards the correct Dharma, and for making such kind of cause and conditions, they usually would be reborn in hungry ghost or hungry ghost realm or animal realm, such as lion, tiger, and all the other animals. So this is how the celestial beings would be reborn, taking rebirth in the 6 realms. The karma is quite inconceivable in the 6 realms. So the celestial beings, they're either on the verge of falling into human realm or into realms of suffering. In various worlds of present and future, when the divas exhibit signs of decaying, but the males and female, if they encounter Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's image or hear Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's name, then the divas can be rescued, can rescue themselves. Usually in the celestial realm, look at Trimsha's heaven, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva as well as many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas would reside there. And there are lots of shrines or teaching places where the Dharma will be expounded. So normally, in celestial realm, unlike in human realm, because people would enjoy would have lots of things to enjoy, so not many beings would listen to the Dharma. And over here, by respectfully gazing up on and paying homage to Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's image just once, their heavenly blessings shall be increased, enabling them to enjoy great happiness. They will also never fall into the realms of suffering. So with chanting the names or paying homage to Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, the heavenly beings, celestial beings will be saved and will be able to enjoy happiness. And then the Buddha continued to say that furthermore, Avalokiteshvara, in the various worlds of the present and future of dying sentient beings in the 6 realms, hear Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's names before their death. Look at here. I think Ksitigarbha Sutra is indeed a great teaching to expound to the worldly beings because it's very closely related to our life. To compare to the Abhidharma teaching, when we talk about the form and formless and all the different meditative insights, I think many people won't be able to understand. But Ksitigarbha Sutra talks about the things that most worldly beings would care quite a bit. And over here, the Buddha continued to expound, saying that if the dying sentient beings in the 6 realms hear Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's name before their death, they will not enter into realms of suffering. Even if that person does not have any faith towards Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, but if that person heard the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, then that person will not enter into the realms of suffering. This is so important. Sometimes whenever we see sentient beings that's about to die, we should chant the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva and Amitabha, as well as the Great Liberation Sutra, where it says that Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, as well as the Namo Jewel Crest Buddha, Namo Rana Ruka Buddha. All of these names are also very important. Recently, I really want to give teachings on the Sutra of Great Liberation. I think that's my plan because recently I have great faith towards that sutra. Yesterday I made some comparison of this sutra from the Chinese version and the Tibetan version. Both of the translations are great. Although the 2 editions don't have the translators' names, but the Chinese translation that is included in the Tripitaka is an edition that is found both in Dunhuang version and other versions. The Tibetan version is translated from Chinese into Tibetan language. The translator is unknown. Maybe it's from a long time ago, because that version is included in the Döge version, the Döge printing house. So there are different editions. In fact, this prayer wheel that I use, inside this prayer wheel is the Sutra of Great Liberation. I think it's quite important to chant the Sutra of Great Liberation, and in this way, they will not fall into the 3 lower realms and would definitely be able to attain liberation. So later, I really hope to give teachings of the Sutra of Great Liberation. If you can chant it for the deceased one for 49 days, that is really wonderful. The Sutra of Great Liberation can be finished. If you want to chant it, it can be finished in 1 or 2 hours, not much less than 3 hours, I think. You can chant You can find it in Chinese and Tibetan. So later on, I really want to give teachings on that. This is quite important. It has lots of the names of the Buddha, names of the Buddhas of the 3 times, as well as lots of the names of Bodhisattvas. This is a sutra that is practiced in Tibet. Almost every household would practice on this. In fact, I think those great masters from the past, and they're really quite diligent. Look at Master Mengcan. The attendant told us that Master Mengcan, when he was 100 years old, he would get up at 3 or 4 o'clock and then chant Ksitigarbha Sutra. I think it must make us quite ashamed of ourselves. Don't even mention about the Sutra of Great Liberation. I think many people would have lots of difficulty by chanting the Sutra of Great Liberation once, thoroughly and completely. And even if I were to ask you to chant it once per week or per year, I don't really know if you'll be able to do that. If you can finish chanting at least once in 13 days, that's pretty good too.
这样的就是这个确实我们这个我们不敢说是红尘成就就是获得解脱，但是不堕恶趣的话，那这也是非常重要。
I think it's a little bit of a far-fetched to say that we can attain a rainbow body in this life and to attain full enlightenment in this life. But we should at least to make sure that we don't fall into the 3 lower realms. Attaining this human body, we should try to confess and listen to the names of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The merit is inconceivable, and that's the words, the truthful words of the Buddha, so we should follow that. So the Buddha continued to say that the benefit will be even greater if their parents and the parents and relatives use the value of their possessions, such as homes, money, jewelries, and or clothing, to commission the forging or painting of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's image. So, at the time, before the patient pass away, it would be the best when the patient could see, could hear, and know that the family members are using his money and his house and jewels to forge the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. And if possible, let the dying person hear and see the parents and relative vowing to offer their belongings to finance forging the paintings of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's image on their behalf. If these dying people's karmic retributions are such that they were only to be extremely ill, then by the merit of the offering made on their behalf, they would be cured quickly and have their lifespan extended. Sometimes, whenever we ask the sanghas to chant sutras or chant mantras and rededicate the merit, or if we do that, in fact, the result will be very different. I think similarly to the patient, if the lifespan is not exhausted, using all of the savings to make the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, but then later, if he were to revive and after he's no longer ill and he may feel that he doesn't have anything anymore, maybe that person would start to complain to the family members, why did you sell all of my stuff to build an image? I'm not sure if that person would start to complain. Anyhow, if these people's, if these kind of patients' lifespan has already exhausted, and because of the negative karmas, that person is supposed to be reborn in the 3 lower realms, but because his wealth are given to the good cause of making merit, then this person will be able to be reborn in the celestial realm and enjoy all great happiness. All kinds of negative retributions will be dismissed. Over here, it talked about the two kinds of conditions, and first one is that if the person is very ill, and if you were to use his wealth to build the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva and chant the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, then that person may not die and may gain even longevity. And the other possibility is that even after practicing lots of merit, that person would die. Then it is because of his karma has already ripened. But because of the merit that is accumulated, then this person would not be reborn in the three lower realms. And then the Buddha said that if furthermore, Avalokiteshvara, in the present and future, there may be men or women who lost their parents or siblings when they were in their infancy or they were under the age of 3, 5, or 10. As they grow older, they miss their deceased loved ones. I heard that people usually would be able to remember the parents if they were older than 3 years of age. They would be able to remember how the siblings or parents died, actually younger than 3 years of age. They would think of them and not knowing where they've been reborn in the 6 realms. And if one were to miss their deceased loved ones dearly and wondering which realm their loved ones have been reborn, these people may paint or forge Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's images. Upon seeing Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's images or hearing his name, perform one respectful gaze and homage for 1 to 7 days. Whenever they hear his name or see his image, they should gaze on respectfully, pay homage, and make offering without regressing from original intent. If their deceased ones have fallen into 3 lower realms and remain there for 7 kalpas because of negative karmas, then these deceased shall be liberated because of the merit from the surviving relatives' actions of painting or forging Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's image, and respectfully gazes and homages. If your family member or your relatives died at the young age, or if they passed away and you don't know where they are reborn, then we should chant this sutra as well as building the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva and making offering as well, taking homage. This is quite important, because in this way the deceased one will be able to enjoy happiness of the celestial realm, and eventually by the power of this merit, they will be reborn in higher realms and eventually generate merit to attain liberation. So, if one can chant the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's name within 21 days, or chant the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva for 10,000 times, then that person will be able to receive the great blessings from Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, and the Bodhisattva will inform that person saying that so your family members reborn in a certain place, maybe Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva will appear in the dreams. and bring that person to the place of the siblings and relatives. It is because of the merit that is generated by chanting the Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's name during the day, so in the evening they can see their parents or relatives. Today I also had a dream, but I don't want to say that. If the person can further devotedly chant the Bodhisattva's name 1,000 times per day for 1,000 days, that's about 3 years, then Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva shall send the local earth deity to protect them for the rest of their lives. So for the whole lifespan, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva would send the local earth deity to protect them. I think it's easy to chant Nama Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. It's not difficult at all. Usually it's very easy for us to make aspiration. But how long do you think that's going to take? 10 minutes? Have you tried? You did? Probably. So Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva will send the local deities to protect one for their whole life. Over here, for the whole life, it means that the local protector, the local deity would always be there to protect them, and not that they will be present sometimes and be absent some other times. This is quite important. Sometimes when I went, in fact, when I went out with Ponsukul Rinpoche, sometimes we're around him, sometimes we're not. And when we're not, there are times Ponsukul Rinpoche appeared to be not so happy. He would question us, "Where did you all go? I was there all by myself with so many guests." And there was no one guarding the door at all. Sometimes we would run off and probably just taking a break, but all of a sudden a great cohort of people would gather around. But anyhow, the protector is always there. Additionally, they will have abundance of food and clothing. They will not suffer from serious illness nor ill accidents occur near their homes. And then Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, in the future there may be virtuous men or women who resolve with great compassion to rescue all sentient beings, who resolve to cultivate the highest Bodhi, and to resolve to leave the 3 states of mortal existence in the Trilokya. Upon seeing Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's image and hearing his name, they should devotedly seek refuge in Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, pay homage and make offering of incense, clothing, jewels, and or food. Then they shall quickly fulfill their resolution and never be obstructed from achieving their goals. So such kind of person's wishes will be fulfilled without any kinds of obstacles at all. As we've studied, as we've learned earlier, that Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva is the wish-fulfilling jewel. according to the 10 chakras of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva Sutra, it says that if one were to practice merit, right mindfulness, precept, and wisdom, then one should wholeheartedly take refuge and revere Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, then everything that person asks for will be fulfilled. Therefore, if we can truly supplicate to Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, then your right mindfulness, your precept, as well as the wisdom of listening and contemplation, and the merit of worldly and transmundane merits, as well as your provisions, can be fully accumulated. I understand that everyone has very different wishes nowadays. The majority of people really want to have safety and health, but for a true practitioner, they all want to have the genuine bodhicitta and want to be able to benefit limitless sentient beings as soon as possible. If you want any of those, then you should supplicate to Avalokiteshvara. This is quite important to everyone in our audience. We should understand that the human body is very difficult to attain. On the 4th of June, according to Tibetan calendar, I asked the people to generate bodhicitta. I'm not sure if all of you have generated bodhicitta at that time or made the aspiration to. I had generated bodhicitta in front of Bodhisattva Rinpoche. So when people ask you, when did you make the aspiration of bodhicitta, then you should remember that was the time you generated bodhicitta. There are these kind of dates are really important. You should be able to answer that back in so and so years, and on the 4th of June, I made the aspiration of generating bodhicitta. At least you should make such aspiration. According to Mahaprajna Paramita Shastra, it says that a great bodhisattva generating the great mind. And what it means is that at the beginning of making aspiration, there are lots of causes, but just like there are lots of fish eggs, but not many of those would mature to become fish. Similarly, there are lots of people who made such causes and cannot generate bodhicitta. Another metaphor comes from this quote is that the mango tree would give lots of mango blossoms, but only a few of them would come to fruition. So Patrul Rinpoche says that it is not the most important to generate the aspiration, but it is really important to generate the genuine bodhicitta. At the time when you generate the genuine bodhicitta, then whenever people try to harm you, you will not be harmed, and you will definitely not take revenge upon others. Each one of us, in fact, encounters the Mahayana Dharma with great difficulty. It's not easy. So you should remember when it was the time that you genuinely generated renunciation and bodhicitta. If you still have not, then you should contemplate. Back in 1986, Phuntsuk Rinpoche composed this verse, and on the 4th of June, in Tibetan calendar, all of us also made the aspiration along with him. I truly think at that time I only made the aspiration of bodhicitta, but later on I indeed generated the genuine bodhicitta. And that changed my life. So it is quite unusual, because all of the things that I couldn't have endured before, I was able to work with them after. I really hope that everyone could contemplate again and again to think about how difficult it is to attain this human body and how difficult it is to receive the Mahayana Dharma. If we were to only talk about bodhicitta and make generation, that is not sufficient. I said that I think we have to generate the genuine bodhicitta, and it would be the best to choose a date. It could be the day of Shakyamuni Buddha turned the wheel of Dharma, or it could be the day where Shakyamuni Buddha descended from went to give teachings in the celestial realm, or it could be the Parinirvana day of Pontsokro Rinpoche, or your birthday. Because that is not only the birthday of your physical body, it could be your birthday of your genuine bodhicitta. In this way, it is quite representative, it is quite memorable. Anyhow, we have to generate bodhicitta. Otherwise, if we could not generate this kind of bodhicitta, this kind of enlightened mind before our death, I think it is quite a pity. It is very difficult to attain this human body. We should definitely use this to put it on the path of Mahayana, on the path of bodhisattvahood. So we should stop here today.
Sunum dai tamche zubanya tona nibe jana pashe jirgana jironon chubai chubim solen roa